Good morning, I'm J John. Greetings to you all and special greetings to Pastor Deepak Robinson. Birthday blessings, Pastor Deepak. And I pray for you the prayer that Jabez prayed, that the Lord will bless you indeed in this next decade of your life and ministry. That the Lord will widen his influence through you, that God's hand would be upon you and he would protect you and your family from harm and evil. In these recent days, I've been reflecting on the story in Mark's Gospel, chapter 4. Jesus had been teaching all day. He says to his disciples, let's get in the boat and row to the other side. So they all get into the boat. Jesus, having taught all day, is really tired and he falls asleep. Now, to row from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake would take about 2 hours. But somewhere on that journey, a storm arose, and it was a terrible storm. Many of the disciples were fishermen. They're used to storms, but this was severe. It was so severe that it panicked them, that they woke up Jesus. And I like what the passage says, how Jesus rose and stood. There was something very powerful and authoritative about Jesus rising and standing. And then he spoke to the storm to be calm, and he spoke to the sea to be calm. The first response from the disciples was, "Who is this?" Because they knew only Yahweh, the Hebrew word for God, only Yahweh can calm a storm. Only Yahweh can calm the seas. So I think what happened was they had an epiphany, a realization. Who is it that's in the boat with us? Is it God? Yes, it is. Jesus, the Alpha, the Omega, was in the boat. And then Jesus rebukes them for their lack of faith. You know how sometimes we might see a movie and then you see this little bubble of what they're thinking that's different to what they might be saying. I think if there was a little bubble there, I think Jesus may have been thinking, hey boys, do you honestly think this boat would sink in the middle of the lake with me in it? I made the universe. I made everything. I made the sea. He rebukes them for their lack of faith. What I'm encouraged about this story is that the disciples were only doing what Jesus instructed them to do. Get in the boat, row to the other side. Just because we are following the instructions of Jesus, it doesn't mean that we're not going to go into a storm. We need to remember this, that Jesus, who is sovereign, who reigns and rules, he is with us. So let's not be fearful, but let's exercise our faith in Jesus. I like it when Jesus said, if we had faith as small as a mustard seed. I think the point Jesus was making was, when you see a mustard seed, it's tiny. We've got the faith. Let's just exercise our faith in Jesus, who has got it. I find that so reassuring. I find it so comforting to know Jesus is with me and Jesus has got it. Can I encourage you to put your faith in Jesus? Can I encourage you to trust that Jesus has got all this? And in the meantime, let's be his ambassadors to our neighbours and our friends and our family and our colleagues. And let's be more intentional in sharing the good news of Jesus with others by praying, caring and sharing. So I speak and I pray God's blessing over all of you. The blessing of God the Father who made you, the blessing of God the Son who died for you, and the blessing of God the Holy Spirit who lives in you be with you now and forever. Be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.